Alright, Chapter 6, Planning and Deployment. Government of India, Ministry of Railways, Railway Board, Indian Railway Track Maintenance Machine Manual, 2nd edition, September 2019. Chapter 6, Planning and Deployment. 601, Planning. Working deployment of all the track machines zonal railways should be under the control of the Chief Engineer Track Machines. By February 5th of February every year after the budget, the Senior Department and Engineer coordinate with the division will send with the Chief Engineer of the track machine with the required plan with the track machines a period of 15 to 18 months starting with the 1st of April of the coming year with the base for the maintenance record track renewal needs. Essentially keeping of the various aspects detailed below, likewise with the construction organization, the PSU, with the other agencies, the project there. Requirement of the coming of the financial year with the after deployment of the program of the CTSR, the TSR, the job of the drawing the office with the Chief Engineer with the track machine. Once if the targets are prepared with the discovery of the Railway Board and shall be sent with the division, other units annual program A shall be prepared with a period of 18 months from the program, 12 months for the commencing of 1st April, the first year of the 10th of the program, 6 months for the second year after the 1st April of the second year of the program, drawn with the February 17th will be up to the 30th of September 18th. Figure program 12-month period of the 1st April of the April 17th to the 31st of the March 18th to the 10th of the 6-month period after the 1st April 18th to 30th of April, September 18th will help the division finalize the tender support activities in time of the drawing of the program and following the aspects shall be taken into consideration. Base depot location of the train loading equipment, train railway, train relay train, etc. for the local requirements of the local power availability, block requirements, block availability, ballast needs, supply project, speed restriction. Working season output, individual machines, effective availability machines, taking into account with the POH, IOH, major repairs, shifting, etc. prior targets, completion project works with the coordinate with the requirement of the S&T for the TRD branch, if any other effect for the head of the bearing on the machine utilization targets, any targets of each of the type of the machine fixed with the Railway Board in a constellation of the zonal railway factors which are taken in deciding the targets of track maintenance work due with the beginning of this year, track renewal targets, availability with the machine of the railway, taken into consideration plan with the maintenance operation pile with the POH, and IOH availability with the track, including quarter door block plate progress machines per month for the past 3 years on the railway. Progress per machine per month for the past 3 years of the Indian Railway. Age of the machine. Requirements for the division, construction, organization, PSU, and the other agencies shall be determined by the Chief Engineer Track Machine. Consultation with the Central CTE Zonal H Headquarters of the Draft Development Program 18 months. The program of the 12 months of the edition of the 10th program, 6 months shall be issued the 25th of every February every year. Division shall study and inform any of the training with the correction of the draft deployment plan on 15th day with the engineer track machine. Will issue the final deployment of the program after examining the suggestion by the division. The division of the construction unit, the receiver of the deployment plan shall be initiated with the preliminary works of the development of the base development depots of the finalization contract arrangement, locomotive, the drawing of the maintenance of the wind, or understanding collection of the matching material of the ballast collection, or coordination with the other branch of the machine staff, accommodation, procurement of the consumable like diesel oil, etc. shall no time of the waste of the other machines reach the site of the machines. Overall, the section of the division construction unit shall be deployed prior to the approval of the deployment of the program closely monitor work close and works complete with the time of the machine handover the network next work say on our per program and any deviation approved the program which should be exemption should be approved by the chief technical engineer or chief engineer of the track machine. An advance copy of the deployment of the headquarter division shall be correctly accordingly. Senior department engineer or co shall be arranged with the expeditious movement of the machine with respect to the division with the approved program. The senior development engineer of the section ensure the timely completion of the preparatory works in section where the machine is due to arrive. 10. Wherever the machine other division railways are passing through other division, senior division engineer of the division shall arrange expeditious machine movements of the machine in his or her division. 602 prerequisite development of the track machines for the construction project for the other agency. Requisite of the track geometry for the ability to ensure the before deployment of the track machine for the construction projects. Track length, jam with the respect for the gauge joint of the expansion gap spacing of the speedsters next to the track specified in paragraph 316 International Railway permanent way maintenance shall be followed. A minimum clean balance cushion of 250 millimeters for the main line, 550 millimeters for the yard long with the adequate belts on the shoulder crib should be sure before deploying with the handbook machine's power. Recording level varies. First line shall be done by the trained personnel on the lift to smooth flows of the will be also calculated in advance for the lining and leveling with the design mode of the tamping. See the track geometry prior to the development of the track machines of the new works of the new line, double engaged with the cones variation, etc. should be understood with the peak value on unevenness 15 millimeters, 3 millimeters, 3.6 millimeters, core peak value with a twist 15 millimeters, 3.6 millimeter, core peak value of alignment at 15 millimeters, 7.2 millimeter, chord above the track geometry, stand with the non-safety shown down with the talents for the only prerequisite deployment of the track, tamping device, the machine, the better of the machine, the productivity, optimization, utilization, achieve of the track geometry parameters is able to suitable small track machine. Such off-track tampers that may be either the recording issue with the track parameters should be done either the motorized trolley. Track should be certified with a fit for the speed of 30 kilometers per hour with the board deploying tamped machine. The on receipt with the DYA Chief Engineer, Senior Department Engineer. With a direct joint track inspection track with the base of the done with the assistant engineer with the technical manager track machine. Based on joint inspection, the deputy chief engineer shall certify the track geometry mentioned above the deploying of the track machine after attending the deficiency. Sectional senior department engineering shall continue with the suitable track of the deployment of the machine verified education otherwise before the machine is deployed. 2 rounds along the consolidation of the dynamic track stabilizer should be carried out with a construction project prior to the opening of the section. After opening the section of the traffic after around with the tamping along with the consolidation of the dynamic track stabilizer may be done with the need basis. Inter-relay deployment. All inter-relay transfer of the machines will be done and approved with the railway board only. When machines are deployed for the work with the railway short depreciation up to a period of 2 to 3 months, the owning of the rail will show the design of the machine, the necessary for the staff, required for the work of the zone. Receiver of the machine shall associate and staff with the pilot machine with movements within its jurisdiction. Oil and consumables spare for the required operation shall be supplied by the user railway. Major repairs shall be responsibly owning railway used implied with the machine that ability to develop and when the other railway should be conditioned. No need for any of the major repairs. Used railway should be responsible for the optimization of the machine feeding of the program of the track maintenance system, machine systems operating, reporting progress in case of the deployment of the very long duration. User railway shall take over the machine and range required staff operation and maintenance. 604, line block stipulated corridors of mining. Stipulated block hours of block machines that avail every month of the desired utilization. The stipulated block hours over the machine shall be 100 hours per exam for the TR train relay train relay train or the train loading equipment over the PCCM, a point of contact crossing machine. The SBH stipulated block hours of the track relay train and track loading equipment will be 62 hours for the PCCM, 36 hours per month. No availability of the machines account with the planned maintenance for the operation of the POH, IOH, consider the arriving of the figure of the stipulated block hours. The demand block hours, minimum specified block hours demand with a daily is achieved as minimum of the stipulated block hours on an average of the year. The general rule of the dynamic block hours shall be as follows. All track maintenance except the PCCM 4 times the number of days demanded. For the PCCM 3 times the number of the days demanded. Number of the days demanded show the actual number of the days block demanding excluding the days lost due to the rest holiday machine under repair maintenance of the overhauling shift and no planning, etc. Actual block hours, the actual block hours granted in an hour, the demand block hours and stipulated hours expressed in percentage give the availability of the track machine and automatic block hours of the demand block hours expressed in percentage of the machine utilization. 605, type of the blocks. The stipulated on the railway on-track machine should work with the under the traffic blocks as pertinent per follow operation depending on the track maintenance, the requirement of the track pattern for the regular on the traffic blocks. On single line section of each one of the block at least 4 hours of the 2 blocks with the 2.5. The exceptional case of the minimum of the 2 hours with the beware of the 2.5 hours is not possible with the double line section. One spell with the words 4 up and down line daily, 2.5 split blocks up and down line alternate at least 5 hours daily, 1 over the 3 lines. Block construction project multiple lines. On construction project multiple lines at additional working hours block should be planned. Special blocks in addition with the regular traffic blocks, special blocks and vegazed engineering operation joint planning operation issue with the railway board from time to time should be considered mega block running several days a week. The major maintenance of the rehabilitation has to be identified block section, double line travel section should be carried out 3 to side along block running it several days a week. For blocking one line with the version of the double line and the single with a suitable modification single system to complete with the entire work which shall result in no expeditious completion with a better quality of the work detailed scheme of each of the section undertake with a temporary conversion based for the requirement of the work local conditions shall be prepared by zonal ways of the lay down with the joint circular issue of the railway board. Mega block of the 6 hours duration or more on single the double line section with a mega block with a minimum duration 6 hours up to twice for the week depending on the requirement of the work shall be made available to installation of few passing trains may be resorted to if required on multiple line section have more than 2 lines pre-plans assured mega block with 6 hours should be made available particularly when the context and tendency of the track band being run over while doing moving to another and otherwise doing performance of the duties. Minimum duration blocks. Minimum duration of the blocks effective the working effective time and the ideal stipulated over the per effective hour shall be also for the track machines deployed variety of the track where the proper utilization to be ensured the minimum available the minimum duration of the blocks. Smooth, safe, and effective working minimum duration of the blocks fixed base with the setting up to winding up the time and the effective time of the progress per effective hour minimum block duration, etc. for different types of machines is given below. Time turnout with the mainline turnout outside of the connection disconnection time required with the signal track depending on the length of the curve in section for deep screen and P and C with the effective times include the movement and preparatory works and single CNT work. Output may be depending on the age of the machine with the track feature for output less than 90% of the normal output of the region should be analyzed with the corrective of the action taken if the PMT using spot attention both plane and track points of crossing may be the requirement will vary depending on the work performed. Group work can be adopted for the reduced total block requirement if the shift of the longer duration block is granted with the ballast cleaning machine can be deployed with a group of the blocks for 4 hours as many more is working the time scheduled machine. Second machine reduce the time lost for the trailing machine of around 30 minutes with additional output with the compromise of the regular base due to the conservation estimate of the patches left between the 2 machine works location and thus the group of the working ballast cleaning machine the effective time will have to be increased by 30 minutes for the second machine so forth on third machine. Tank machines can also be deployed in group with more than one plane track. Like the hamper can also be combined with the unimat, the measure of the ensuring the block. Principal chief engineer of the chief operating engineer of the railway with the ensure the identified corridor blocks above that are incorporated. The working timetable availability should be ensured. Follow the measure of the ensure the availability of block, including engineering maintenance of the corridor block working timetable to update with every duly with providing alternative corridors for the effective of the newly introduced trains. Resorting to the temporary single line working reschedule regulation cancellation train ensure the adequate block for the track machines. Identify double line section introduction single of the single line single working for the days of weeks. Periodic monitoring, daily monitoring of the block and the performance of the daily reporting. Maintenance level of decision of the chief CTE at headquarters weekly with the PCE with the principal chief of the engineer, chief the operation manager, and the GM level of the headquarters essential to monitor the utilization track machine and block. Granted. 608 through tamping and spotting attention. Type of the tamping for the tamping of the categories and 2 type of the rural tamping and maintenance for the tapping is the approach of the type of the program. John with the beginning of the year covered the longest continuous stretches of the track one end for the block section to the other. Frequency for the tamping depending on the tamping cycle fixed from the railway based on the factor for the unenumerated below with the approval of the chief technical engineer. Spot attention tapping action is shorter than stretches that would save 200 meters or longer, sometimes necessitated due to various reasons such as bad roading, location warrants, work spot, etc. For the annual program shall have the provision spot attention to be done with approval of the senior department engineer of the company. Quantity of spot attention into the terms approximate length of the kilometers that should be incorporated in the deployment of the program and issued by the control and chief engineer of the track maintenance. Tamping frequent the requirement of periodic periodicity through the tamping of it depends on the many factors as mentioned below. The track density or GMT with the route with the axle load, maximal permissible speed with the train track, geometry gradients of the curve of the track shift, the condition of the track components, the depth of the ballast cushion available to the cleaning of the cushion below the sleeper, on the shoulder, the drainage character of the type of the formation, embankment of the cutting, the type of the soil, the condition and stability of the formation, climatic conditions such as rainfall, snowfall, etc., local conditions, the jutting built up to the trespassing, drainage problems, etc., mode of the tamping on the previous occasion, and smoothing mode of the design mode. Tamping frequency had been fixed for the purpose of the tube of the track with required with the geometrical parameters so the condition of the packing of the end of the result will have the good riding comfort quality. Consider the wide variation of the force of the factors of the different sections of the non-feasible, the frequency of the tamping with the universally and so railway with frequency with the approval of the chief technical engineer of the general guidance for the frequency of the tamping would be 1 year above. Tampering of the track have been bad formation. All of the factors necessitating more favoring tamping should be called to the spot attention of the treasurer. Track TMS mode shall have the provision feeding of the spot's attention frequency of the tamping may be to review, but as when one or more of the above the factors get modified. Chapter 7: the rules for movement and block working.